Okay, welcome back with Happy Chappies. This is turning a negative into a positive. And when I was younger, I used to see this. Well, we had a Trocra box in the house, and there was always advertisements on TV for the Trocra, and there was always a little child in the box, and it would remember me of a advertisement. And this advertisement had a child on the box with a swollen stomach, flies on their face, and yet no food, no water, and they were still smiling. And so I captured this as a memory and I held it in my heart because I seen it as power that that child could be so happy yet have nothing. And also felt that I wanted to help that child, that no one should be in that situation. And I would hold that in my heart and how I felt. And so whenever I would be feeling about how I was and the whole world and how the world was treating me and how I would see it, I would be crying and moaning about this thing and that thing, and I would get myself into a state with my mind and my way of thinking. And so then I would start getting emotionally fucked up. All because of how I was thinking about the lack of things that I had. But then I would stop. So what you're seeing here now, what I'm going to tell you is, I was in a negative. So bringing a negative that was outside of me into my negative could make something positive. As I would go back to look at that memory that I seen outside of me, of that child that had no food, who had no water, who had flies on their face, yet they carried a smile. They carried happiness by just being, the power of it. And so when I would think of that, all that I'd been thinking about, which was stressing me out, would disappear. Because I seen it as that child had nothing, where I had everything that I had, and I was doing the complaining. And this child carried a smile and was happy and having nothing by just being. Then maybe I could just be. And because I'd be thinking of the child in their situation, it put things into more of a context that, well, I'm just crying about things that I haven't got, but I've got so much more than what that child has. And yet, they're the one that's happy. They're the one that's smiling. If I seen a fly on me, I'd be swiping it off. And yet they're unconcerned of any flies. They're just happy being alive. And so I would learn from this child the power that child had, the power that I have in just being. And yet how the world and how I would see it and have them wants from what I'd see would weaken me. remember, there's always someone worse off than us. And when we start to look outside of ourselves to see that in another, then we can see how happy we can be by helping one another. You see, that child didn't know me, doesn't know me, yet they probably saved me by what I seen in how happy they were, in how happy they could be. Just being. And today I find myself, I can sit here and have a fly on me and chat to the fly. But that wasn't always the way it was. And it probably wouldn't have been if I didn't look at it the way I could see that child. The power that that child had just being who they were. Being in the moment, just enjoying that they had a life. And to interact with other lives. Being. Anyway, this is just a way that I used to use. I suppose I still do. It's programmed in me. That would help me out of negative situations. No matter what I was going through, I could always, excuse me, look back at that moment that I seen that child and how I felt. And how powerful that is. And how selfish I was being. Looking for my wants of different material things that I would look outside of myself. Not accepting who I was. Giving my power away to the world. While I looked at life in that child, and it gave me power. And that power is within you. So if you ever find yourself in a stressful moment, stop. Give yourself time to think instead of rushing around trying to think your way through all you're rushing through, because you're only capturing more outside of you. To stop, to think about all the things that you have, and then look at somebody. Truly look at somebody that doesn't have all them things. And hopefully you'll find yourself like I did. Find that you're being selfish in who you are. And that there's people less well off than you are. And that you must appreciate what you have, that life. Anyway, just my story. Hopefully it helps. This is Happy Chappa. Love and peace.